My baby, I decided it for you. And now, every single day of my life is nothing but the consequence of that decision. The fire has long burned low, its embers glowing faintly in the darkness like dying stars. Our son sleeps with his head on my lap, his breathing soft and steady, unaware of the storm raging inside me. I brush a strand of hair from his forehead, my hand trembling as I do, and I wonder if he will still reach for me with the same trust when he learns who I truly am. I wonder if he will still call me father when he knows the whole truth. Because someday, he will learn it all. He will piece together the fragments of stories I've left unsaid, the half-truths I've offered like weak shields against his questions. Someday, he will realize that his mother's absence was not just a tragedy of fate, but a direct result of my choices, my selfish, blind, destructive choices. And on that day, I will lose him too. The nights are always the hardest. When the world is silent, and the only sound is the whisper of the wind through the trees, that's when the memories come. They creep in like thieves, stealing what little peace I have left, dragging me back to that night, that moment, that irreversible breaking point. Sometimes, I hear your voice so clearly it feels as though you're standing behind me, your hand brushing against my shoulder. My love, come to bed, you whisper. It's late. You're tired. And for a fleeting heartbeat, I almost believe you're still here. My muscles relax, my breath catches, and I turn, ready to see you there. But of course, there's only emptiness. There's always only emptiness. And then the guilt surges up inside me again, drowning me, dragging me under until I can hardly breathe. I replay that night over and over, obsessively dissecting each moment, as if finding the right answer will somehow change the ending. What if it'd gone to you sooner? What if it stayed by your side instead of running toward the fight, thinking I could win it? What if it told you the whole truth from the very beginning, instead of trying to shield you from it like a fool? Would you still be here? Would our son have grown up with his mother's voice singing him to sleep instead of mine, cracked and weary from too many tears? The questions are knives, sharp and unrelenting. They cut me in places no one else can see, carving wounds that will never heal. And yet, I cannot stop asking them. Because I deserve that pain. Because you deserve for me to suffer. Our son stirred earlier today. He had a nightmare. He woke up crying, his small hands reaching for me, his voice trembling as he called for his mother. That one word momentarily destroyed me. I gathered him into my arms, and held him close, rocking him gently, whispering soothing lies into his hair. I told him you were watching over us, that you were safe, that you would never let anything harm him. I spoke those words as if they were true, even though the truth is far crueler. When he finally calmed, he looked up at me with those wide, trusting eyes. Your eyes. The same eyes that once looked at me with love. And for the briefest moment, I almost told him everything. The words rose up inside me, desperate to be spoken, to rip free from the prison where I've kept them locked away for so long. But then he smiled a small, sleepy, innocent smile, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't take that light from him. Not yet. Not when he's still so young, so untainted by the truth. So I swallowed my confession like poison and told him a story instead. A story about a brave queen who loved her family more than anything, who fought to protect them, who lives on as a guardian star in the night sky. He believed me. God help me, he believed me. There is no home for us anymore. We wander from village to village, never staying long enough to draw attention. The world has changed since the days when I was a prince, and yet, the danger remains the same. Enemies still whisper my name in the shadows. There are those who would see my son dead simply because of the blood that runs in his veins. Sometimes, I wonder if I should have hidden him more completely. Changed his name, disguised him so thoroughly that no one would ever know he was mine. But then I look at him, and I see you. I see the curve of your smile in his lips, the stubborn tilt of your chin, the fire in his spirit that mirrors yours so perfectly. How could I erase that? How could I erase you from him, when he is the last piece of you I have left? Tonight, as the fire crackles low and the forest settles into silence, I speak to you again. I tell you about our journey today, about the river we crossed, and the deer we saw grazing in the distance. I tell you about our son's ladder when he slipped on the wet rocks and splashed into the water, about the way he looked at me afterward, as though expecting you to appear and scold us both. I tell you everything. The nights have grown longer since you left, or perhaps it only feels that way because the darkness within me never lifts. Every evening, when the sun dips below the horizon, and the palace falls silent, the weight of what I've done presses harder against my chest. It's as if the walls themselves remember your ladder, and now mock me with their emptiness. I sit alone in the chamber where we once spent countless nights speaking of dreams, futures, and promises that now lie shattered like glass. The fire in the hearth barely burns these days. I can't seem to summon the will to feed it, much like I can't summon the will to feed the part of me that still dares to hope. The shadows stretch long across the room, and I find myself talking to them, as though they can carry my words to you. I tell them about our son, how he's growing so quickly, how his laughter sometimes cuts straight through the fog of my grief. When he smiles, he looks just like you. The tilt of his head, the spark in his eye says you were born, and it breaks me every time. I both crave and fear those moments because while they bring me comfort, they also tear open wounds that never truly heal. He asks questions now, questions that twist my heart into knots. "Where is Mama?" he asks, his voice full of innocent curiosity. I swallow my pain and tell him you're watching over us, that you're somewhere safe and happy. It's a lie, but it's a lie I have to tell. He is too young to bear the truth. The truth would crush him the way it crushed me. There are nights when I replay the moments leading up to your death, dissecting every choice I made, every path I could have taken instead. I think of all the things I might have done differently, all the ways I might have saved you if I had only been faster, smarter, stronger. But no amount of imagining can change what happened. The past is fixed, merciless, a chain I drag behind me with every step. It rattles loudly in my mind, a constant reminder that no matter how far I run, I can never escape it. Sometimes I dream of that night, and in the dream, I always reach you in time. You're standing there, unharmed, your eyes bright with relief, as you see me burst through the door. You run to me, and I gather you in my arms, promising never to let go. But then I wake up, and reality crashes over me like ice water. My arms are empty. The room is silent. And you are still gone. The court whispers about me behind closed doors. They see the change in the sharpness in my tone, the hollowness in my gaze, the way my patience wears thin like a blade ground too many times on stone. They call me cold, ruthless, unfit to rule. Perhaps they're right. Since losing you, I have become someone I barely recognize. There was a time when I ruled with compassion, when I listened to the voices of my people, and tried to understand their struggles. Now, I see only threats, only enemies lurking behind every bow and every smile. They don't understand that my paranoia is not born of power, but of love. The same love that once gave me strength has now twisted into fear. Fear that someone will come for our son the way they came for you. Fear that I will fail him as I failed you. So I strike first. I crush dissent before it has the chance to grow. I wield my authority like a weapon, sharp and unrelenting. If they hate me for it, so be it. I will bear their hatred if it means keeping him safe. But at night, when the palace is silent, and the mask slips away, the truth comes for me. I kneel beside the window, staring into the endless darkness beyond the walls, and I feel the full weight of my sins. My hands tremble as I recall the faces of those I've silenced, the lives I've ended, all in the name of protection. Would you recognize me now, my love? Or would you see me for what I have become, a man who let his grief devour him, until there was nothing left, but a shadow of who he used to be? Sometimes, I hear your voice in the stillness, soft and mournful. It's not real, I know that. It's only my mind tormenting me. Let the words cut deep nonetheless. You promised me, the voice whispers. You promised you wouldn't let this world change you. And I break all over again because I did promise. And I broke that promise, as surely as I broke the one to keep you safe. I visit your grave in secret, under the cover of darkness. A path through the forest is overgrown now, branches clawing at my cloak as if trying to drag me back. The air smells of earth and decay, and each step feels heavier than the last. When I finally reach the clearing, the sight of the simple stone marker nearly brings me to my knees. I kneel beside it and trace your name with my fingers, the carved letters cold beneath my touch. The wild flowers I planted there grow in tangled abundance, their delicate petals swaying gently in the night breeze. For a long time, I just sit there, unable to speak. When I finally find my voice, it's rough, broken,